Man, oh man, feels good to be back in the saddle recording again. It's been a while. It's Sunday, and the last time I recorded, I think, was Wednesday. But let's recap the weekend. So, I did not end up going up to where I was supposed to go up to hunt. I stayed local, and I hunted this weekend with my bow, not a gun. But what a crazy weekend of hunting. So let's start first with Thursday night. Um, so got in the stand around 1. Sun is completely down. Can't shoot around 5:30. Was a pretty slow start to a sit, but that's no problem. About the last hour of light, a bunch of does start piling into this field that I'm hunting, and now I'm getting excited because this field that I'm hunting, I had saw two nice bucks early in the week. So I'm and it's rut time, so I'm like, okay. Whenever you have does, it's nice because they're like natural decoys for you. But so the does piled in. Saw a couple little bucks, a spike, one with just two forks, a little 4-pointer, and a decent 6 way down on the other end of the field. But last maybe 15 minutes of light, this whopper, just magnum, pops out. Biggest buck I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen pictures of bigger bucks, but like me actually physically sitting hunting, biggest buck I've ever seen. And he pops out about 100 yards away. And before I could even rattle or do anything, he turns and he's like coming on a rope towards me. For no explanation or reason, or I'm like, holy fuck. So I'm tucked in the woods about probably 20 yards or so in this chain on stand, and he's coming on a rope, and I'm like, holy fuck. So I take my bow off this limb. I'm tucked in these pines, and he gets to just about the edge of the field, which I can't really shoot where he's standing into the field, just too thick. But as he's coming straight at me. He kind of goes to my right, and he gets in these pines, and I'm like, dude, he's about to jump into fucking in the woods here with me. So my heart starts racing. I'm like, holy fuck. And as he's about to crest into the open hardwoods, them does start moving out in the field. So he hears that, catches that, turns around, and goes right back to him. So I tried to rattle him back in. He turned and looked at me, but he was way more focused on these does. And you could tell there was one hot doe that he was very focused on because there was a ton of does, but he was chasing one. And he didn't pop out until this doe popped out. So that was a huge success. I was like, holy fuck. I'm like, I actually, I saw him. I know. I'm trying to learn his patterns. So now flash forward to Friday evening. I take my climber in there, and I make a pretty aggressive call. I get kind of right up in their bedding, and I got in around 1 o'clock again. But when I was walking in, the field was already full of does. So I'm like, fuck. I'm going to have to take my time. It took me about 40 minutes to get to where I wanted my stand and to actually get up in the tree. Because I hooked up my climber real slow, climbed real slow, just being super quiet because I didn't want to spook nothing. And so I get up, and as I'm pulling my bow up, this doe, she didn't see me or smell. I don't know. She must have heard something going on. So she kind of stiff-legged and walked 20 yards to me, but I'm holding the string, and my bow is halfway up to me, just dangling. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And we're staring at each other. It had to be 6-7 minutes. And so we're staring at each other, and I'm like, fuck. But she doesn't blow or anything. She just kind of turns around and trots away and gets. I'm kind of like. I'm kind of the field comes down, and then there's kind of like this peninsula, this knob, and then the field kind of cuts back. So they go on the other side of this thick shit. I'm watching them. They get into the thick shit, and I'm not exaggerating. Maybe fucking 10 minutes later, they crawl back out that thick shit and back into the field. By 2:30, the field is just jammed. There's does everywhere. There's a spike. There's that fork buck again. It was a madhouse. I counted like 48 deer. There's some to my left. There's deer everywhere. So when them younger bucks came out, they're called like satellite bucks because they'll hang around with big bucks or they'll track big bucks. because big bucks kind of want to keep them away from a hot doe. But the satellite bucks are called that because they'll hang around a big buck and just hope that, he chases one doe off and there's other hot does and they can kind of pick up the scraps, so to say, right? So, with maybe around 3:30, these does kept looking across the street to this other field where there's horses and stuff. And I'm like, man, they keep looking over there. There's something over there. And sure enough, he comes barreling out of this field. Dude, I'm talking 400 yards away. I watch him come barreling out to these does, hauling ass. Gets to the does. The does are about 200 yards. So I rattle to him. And when I rattle to him, he immediately snaps his neck to my part of the woods and comes on a rope again towards me. I'm shaking like a leaf, but I'm trying to calm myself down, get calm, put my rattling antlers away, and I'm sitting there. I got my release hooked on and everything. And he gets about 70 yards, and he's just looking into the woods. So I grunt to him a little bit. It takes a couple more steps, and I'm like, come on. He was hauling ass towards me. For whatever reason, same thing, kind of stomped his feet, looked around, took off, went back towards those does, and then ran past the does. But I checked wind. My wind wasn't blowing towards him. I just think he heard that rattling and looked in the woods and didn't see anything. So he hauled ass, all the way back across the road and that. And then that 6 that I saw the day before, same thing. He streaked all the way across the backfield, just hauling ass towards does. I had 2 little bucks fighting, had 2 does fighting. And then right before last light, probably this is a field over 400 yards plus yards away. I'm just glassing, and this fucking ribcage monster's on the edge of the field coming out of the woods, and I'm like, holy fuck. He's too far to rattle. I just watched him for a little while. But just a perfect typical 10, just wide as fuck. The buck that I saw twice is like a 9 with kind of a wonky side, but he's like just at the ears, but he's super high. He's a crazy weird looking buck. That was hands down probably one of my favorite sits to date. I didn't kill anything, obviously, but just seeing that much rut action, seeing all them deer, it's just a blast. And that feeling when you that's the first time in my life I've ever successfully rattled to the point where a deer comes hauling at me. He was hauling ass, ready to look for a fight. But this week I'm gonna go back out there and try and see if I can't kill him. But yeah, that's how my weekend went. I think I was the only motherfucker hunting opening day this weekend with a bow and not a gun. But I don't know. I like the bow. I enjoy it. I just like the challenge of it, and the feeling of actually getting a deer with the bow is significantly better than with the gun. But all right, you guys know the drill. I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.